Hi, welcome back. This is segment 3 with Professor and Dr. Gabe Vitalone from formerly William Paterson University. And this is Fr Louis Scurti with Friends of the Word. We're interviewing Gabe and he's giving us a full educational experience of a young man who grew up in Yonkers and who has currently continued his faith at the young age of 95 years old. We just had Mass together. He and his wife, Evelyn, are often present at the early Masses, more than I am, because I usually go to the later Masses. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, we left off a little bit of... Go ahead.
My job transition. So I taught phys ed in junior high school for 1 year, got a job in White Plains, was told it would be strictly elementary school. Got to the school, was told to the principal that she expected me to teach kindergarten physical education. She was ahead of her time. She, a wonderful, wonderful woman. Excellent. She said she wanted her kindergartners to have physical education. That was a very...
Why was that ahead of her time? That's interesting.
Well, because Head Start had not come about yet. And men were suspect in the elementary school anyway. Wow. In fact, Paterson State Teach colleges, when I came here, were primarily...
It was called Paterson State when you came?
Yes.
That's going back.
Yeah, it was primarily, but they're primarily women because they had no secondary majors. It was all elementary school, and the women were going into elementary school, and men were not going into elementary school.
Interesting.
So
what year was that?
That was in 57, 58.
That's it.
You know,
because the history of William Paterson is it started out in Paterson.
Yes.
As
normal school.
The normal school,
yeah.
And then it came up to Wayne.
Yeah, it was a 2-year school that time. All you had to do was go to college for 2 years.
Okay.
And you could become a teacher.
Okay.
And so when it moved from Paterson up to Wayne, they had been there 4 or 5 years before I got there, maybe 52, something like that.
Oh, you were the early founders.
So, yeah, there were 3 buildings, you know, and one was a gym. But anyway, to get back to, my teaching, I told her, I said, I've never worked with young children. I had been a college football coach 2 years before, and I had gone from being an athletic director at a major Canadian university, came back to the States, and I'm now asked to teach kindergarten. And I told her, I said, I've never worked with young children, but if you're patient with me, I'll give you a good job. And I'm not going to be modest now.
No, you
built one of the best physical education programs that I have ever seen. Excellent. And that goes back a long time. But she, with her guidance and with her permission, we were able to do things that were just unbelievable. The beautiful thing was that when I used to finish my kindergarten classes, I used to kneel down at the door and get 25 kisses.
Oh, stop. That's hysterical.
Which is something that you could never get today.
But you do when you see me, though.
Yeah.
I get 25 kisses at least from you.
So anyway, so I started, and then I got a summer job, also through my high school coach, God bless him, working at a day camp in White Plains, which eventually turned into my becoming the director of the nursery school camp. So before I came to Paterson State, I had had experience on every level, from nursery school through
to soldiers.
Yeah.
Where did you fight? You said you fought in combat.
Germany.
Okay. Well, World War
with Patton.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Good role model.
Yes. He was very reassuring. No, seriously. He was very well liked. And, you know, just his presence there it would lift the group.
Great. So you bring all that experience from kindergarten through combat to William Paterson.
Right. And so now I'm in, and I know I'm not going to go anywhere in the physical education department because they just hired a director.
Okay.
That's the job I had in my hand. I'd gotten my doctorate with the time I had left from my GI Bill, so I had gotten my doctorate, and I knew my advancement was limited. So I decided to leave Paterson State, but there was a teacher who had seen me teach who happened to be the head of the department, and she said to me, "Why don't you stay and work for me?"
And what department was that?
That was in early childhood and elementary ed. And she had heard me talk about young children and my experiences with young children. So I said to her, "Well, can you work it out?" And she said yes. So she went to the president, and she said to the president, "I want him." And in those days, they didn't have committees. It was just the president was the one who made the decisions, and she wasn't that happy about it because she couldn't understand how a coach could work with young children. And Alice Meeker said to the president, "I saw him teach. I want him."
Whoa.
And the president said to Alice Meeker, "You may have him, but if it doesn't work out, you're in trouble."
Was that Shea?
Dr. Shea.
Dr. Shea, yeah.
Dr. Shea. So I went in to see Dr. Shea, and I said, "I know you're not happy about this move. I'm going to make a promise to you that you will never regret it."
Where does this confidence, it's so great, it's so gratifying to hear, where does this confidence come from within you?
Just be who you are. I
And-
mean, it's just, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know whether I'm going to be successful. I don't think about failing. I don't think about impressing people. I just got to be me. As long as I'm myself, and it's worked. Last week, and this is a little jump ahead. Last week, I was having breakfast with Tony Colletta. We planned a breakfast. We do this quite often. Tony, I had him as a baseball player. I hired him when I was head of the department at the Paterson State, or William Paterson. He has now retired, and we have breakfast together.
That's good.
He's in his 70s. I'm in my 90s. We're still very close friends. So we have breakfast, and I went to the diner, Wayne Hill's Diner, last week, and noticed a lot of cars in the parking lot, but I didn't think much of it. Walked into the Wayne Hill's Diner, and there were 25 former students of William Paterson College, all of them in their 70s.
Oh, wow. This is your birthday party?
But this is my birthday party.
Isn't that
he arranged.
fantastic?
It was unbelievable. 25. Some of them I hadn't seen in 50 years. I hadn't seen them in 50 years.
But they never forgot you.
And I think that's this thing that we're talking about. It wasn't the subject that I taught. I taught almost every subject that they had there. Whatever it was, if I could read the book, I could teach it.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Because, but the thing is, I'm convinced that in that group of 25, actually only had 4 of them as students.
Oh, really?
21 of them never had me as a teacher.
Oh, how did they know you?
Well,
just reputation.
Yes, just
That's
from the rest of the guys, and my interest in sports, and the fact that I had been a former coach, and was now a doctor. They had, but in any event, that was it. And so when I I know this is of interest. What I did is, you can't leave this out.
I love his stories. Go ahead.
This is a good one. In my second or third year in the education department, I had to prove myself to Dr. Shea, but at that time we discovered the cities, because now all of a sudden it was the Great Society, Lyndon Johnson's Great Society. We got to do something about the inner city, I was a city kid. So they said everybody should have a course. And Dr. Shea called me down and said, we have to do something about, called Alice Meeker down. We have to do something about our relationship with Paterson. We were born in Paterson. We moved away. And the teachers in those days that we were preparing weren't going into the inner city. They were going to the better paying suburbs because there were differential salary schedules at that time.
Of course.
So I went down to Paterson. I started a special student teaching program.
Stop right there. We're going to pick that up.
Okay.
Perfect spot to stop. Wow. Now we've get into a whole nother generation, inner city work in the 60s. And of course, with Gabe's experiences, the next segment is just going to be terribly interesting, as the past have been. Thank you for joining us, and tune in again for segment 4 with my friend Gabe Vitalone. We'll be here all day, so go make yourself some popcorn, come back. and enjoy. Thank you for joining us. Let me hear from you, Fr Louis Scurti at hotmail.com. God bless you.